Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Study in the UK Ask Us Anything with our fantastic advisors. So I'm Mariana, I'm your head of advisors and your host for today, and I'm here with my fantastic colleague.
Hi guys, my name's John. How are you doing?
So John, to tell you a bit about him, he joined our team about a month ago, 2 months ago, actually. Time flies during a pandemic, guys. So John joined our team 2 months ago, and he's working with our Africa team, more specifically with Zimbabwe. So you guys know Trish. She's one of our great advisors. She's been with us for 9 months now. And now we've joined John to her to help her boost the Zimbabwean market and make sure that we reach every single student that wants to come and study in the UK. Don't forget, guys, if you want to ask us any questions, comment on anything we're saying, just comment below on YouTube or Facebook, and we'll be responding to any questions live. And don't forget, if you want to come and study in the UK, you can always send us an email at info@okstudent.co.uk or to our website, send us your details at okstudent.com/book a meeting. So, John, thank you so much for joining me today. I wanted, first and foremost, to ask you to tell us a bit about where you are right now and what you've been doing for the past, few years.
Thanks, Mariana. Firstly, thank you for having me on this live. Really appreciate it. And so currently I am based in Nottingham. I've been here since last year, October. I was actually here for my first stint for my undergraduate. I went to Nottingham Trent University, where I was for 4 years. And after I finished my graduation, I went back home to Zimbabwe at the end of October 2019. Took a year out, did a bit of work back home, and essentially decided that I wanted to take on a master's. So having decided that, it was pretty much an easy choice to come back to Nottingham, as I had familiarized myself with the city. I kind of knew what was going on, and also, the fact that we were heading into a pandemic, it just made things a bit easier to go to a city that I was very familiar with, just to sort of ease that pressure of transitioning, and just having a smooth sail for masters, because so far it's been pretty intense. So coming back to Knots just made that a bit easier.
I can imagine it's definitely super intense to move country, and especially when you're moving country and then you're faced with a pandemic. So you're now finishing your master's, is that right? So what's your master's on?
So I am studying business analytics and management. So I am actually on a 2-year course. So the first year is obviously the learning bit, and I'm actually halfway through that now. So yeah, so far so good, I'd say, but definitely challenging. I won't lie, it has been a bit intense, and obviously, doing uni and lockdown, it's really had to take a bit of a shift in mentality. But we're a few months into it now. I've adjusted, and yeah, it's going all right so far. And then with the second year of my course, I'll be conducting a placement. So after the placement, then I graduate. So yeah.
Perfect. So you get a full year placement on your master's. Do you think that this is a really good benefit for students coming to the UK to study?
Oh yes, I think it's something every student should consider doing, especially international students. I think taking on a placement not only sort of helps you have an idea of the kind of industry you'll be looking at going into, but it gives you a good base as when you finish university, because essentially one of the main things these days is having work experience, and you want to be going into the market with a bit of work experience, and sort of knowing, having a good idea of the kind of environment you're getting into. And it certainly helps your prospects, finding jobs, whether you as an international student are looking to stay in the UK, because honestly it's a very competitive job market. So, coming into uni, I've always tried to rack up as much experience as possible. So I've pretty much been working since the time I arrived in the UK because I was lucky enough to sort of know people that had already been here and been through the system. And, just having listened to their advice, I definitely undertook as much work as I can.
Perfect, exactly, because you said it yourself. It's job experience currently is one of the most important things that students can have on their CVs. Did you take on a placement opportunity when you were at NTU for your undergraduate as well?
Yes, I did. So I was on a 4-year course. Just to sort of break it down, for those that are sort of looking to take that route. So you do your first year, excuse me, and then you do your second year, and then on the third year of your course, you then undertake a placement. It's usually a 1-year placement with the company that you find. But then I took a bit of an unorthodox route because the opportunity kind of, presented itself. So I did 2 placements within the space of a year,
Oh,
um,
wow.
due to certain circumstances. But yeah, but just squeezing in 2 in a year actually kind of worked out well for me because I was able to experience, sort of different sides of certain companies, and it was even different industries, so to a certain extent. So that was good. So in my first placement, I was working for a recruitment company. So I did that for about 3 months, and then in my second placement, I actually went back home to Zimbabwe, and I was working for another student advisory company. So that helped me sort of familiarize myself with the industry that OK Student operates in.
Exactly, and that's something that gives you such a good edge when coming into OK Student as well, because you have all of this experience of already recruiting students from the Zimbabwean market, and you yourself have this experience of coming to the UK, doing your undergraduate, doing your master's. You're clearly very knowledgeable about how students can do this. So what do you think are the main benefits for Zimbabwean students when coming into the UK to study?
I think from a Zimbabwean student perspective, it's definitely experiencing, a new culture and being somewhere else because I think, one of the things I've learned the most is that, the more you travel, the more you learn about, how, different people do things, how business is done in other places. And I'll certainly say it's a very valuable experience. And just again from a Zimbabwean student perspective, you actually get to gain some skills from the UK here that you can take back home and apply. Whether you want to start your own business or just skills you've acquired from your course. I think there's valuable experience to be gained in the UK here that you can certainly take back home and take full advantage of.
Exactly, exactly. I think it's such a good experience. And honestly, one of the things that I found the most when I went to the UK to study, because I did my undergraduate and I did part of my master's there as well, was definitely that cultural gain that we get from it, because you get to meet so many people from so many different countries with such different cultures that I wouldn't have had the opportunity to expand my horizons like that if I had stayed in Portugal to study.
No, 100%. And, I think that's one of the benefits of uni as well, because when you walk into that seminar class, you're seeing people from all over the world. I mean, it's a little overwhelming at first, but then, you gain connections, if I can even call that, from all over the world. I mean, I have friends today that, from India, from China, from here in the UK, obviously, from Spain. So, it's always nice to have friends dotted around the world. You never know where you're going to end up in life. If I end up visiting India at some point, I'll reach out to them. And yeah, it's great.
Exactly. And it's such a good professional network as well, because these are people who have studied with you. These are people who are probably going to be working the same areas, if not the same industries than you. and they're going to be working all over the world. So this is not only a really good social network, it's also a really good professional network that can help you achieve your career goals in the future.
Yeah, I agree. That's true. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you about one thing as well that's been coming up a lot for international students, and that's the PSW. Do you think the PSW is a good benefit for Zimbabwean students as well?
I think it certainly is because one of the things I experienced personally in undergrad was having to graduate and only having, what, 2, 3 months to find a job, which, when you look at it from a realistic point of view, is, it's a bit of a tight timeline, isn't it? So I think that post-study work visa, I don't think anyone will be frowning too much. I think it's massive, and it sort of gives encouragement to students actually looking at coming into the UK. I think, having worked in this industry as well previously, one of the things I came across was the fact that people were more reluctant to come into the UK because after they finished graduating, they just didn't get that opportunity to, sort of get a bit of time to find something, so, just getting that extra amount of time should certainly, increase the popularity of the UK. And I mean, I myself, I'm a student right now, and I'll tell you, I'm looking forward to that as well. Just getting 2 years to find a job, hopefully.
I can imagine it's such a good initiative. And we actually have some comments here from Kelly with some really interesting questions that I want to answer, starting with what is the PSW? It's quite good that you've asked us, Kelly, so thank you so much. So John, do you want to explain in a short sentence what PSW is?
Sure. So I'll just break that down quickly. So PSW is a post-study work visa. It was recently implemented in the case that once students have finished studying their degrees, they get 2 years to stay in the UK and, hopefully, find a job for themselves. And one of the key things is that you actually apply for it once you complete your studies. I think one of the things I got confused myself about when the rumors initially started was as soon as I applied for my, because I was applying for my master's at the time, and I thought I would just get the 2 years on top of that automatically. So, so when I got my BRP and I saw, those 2 years weren't there, I panicked for a little bit. But for anyone that's sort of seen that and having heard that, I just want to clarify that you do get those 2 years after you graduate. So, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So you have to apply for it after you've graduated. Is that right?
100%. Yes, that's correct.
Perfect. All right. Thank you so much, Kelly, for your question. I want to answer your other two questions because I think they're really interesting. So what are the chances to get placement or work after studying there? Let me just start off this question by saying that most universities have about 80 to 90% employability throughout their courses. So that's quite good to begin with. John, do you want to add anything on here?
Sure. Yeah. So with the placement, I think it's very important to clarify that you as a student, it's mostly up to you to find a placement. But I think what's very important to understand is the universities will usually give you as much support and resources as they can. So, for example, with NTU, they have the employability team. So essentially, they help you with your CVs, platform in place. There's things like the CV 360. So you can actually upload your CV there. It flags any, potential things that you may need to sort out. And, they're always on hand to consult you. If you have an interview a couple of days before, they can always give you some tips on what to work on. So you really do get that support that, will help you succeed. I think it's just a matter of you just also putting the effort in and applying to as many jobs as you can. Because again, speaking from experience, it's one of those things that you have to develop a bit of a bit of tough skin for, because when you get those first few rejections, it can sort of lower your morale. But it's just about staying strong. You keep going, and eventually something will come up.
Exactly. I fully agree with that. I think going for interviews and finding a job in itself is a skill. I remember, and expectation management is really important there as well, because we need to be aware that we are going to receive rejections, that rejections are normal, and we need to manage our expectations. So when we find that perfect job, we can't immediately start imagining what it's going to be like when they hire us, because it's going to be so much harder to take that rejection. So definitely be very open to rejection and manage your own expectations when applying for jobs. As John said, you have an entire employability team at all of our universities that are able to help you form your CV, to help you with interviews and all of this. So take advantage of these resources, and I'm sure you'll get your placement and your job as soon as you can, as soon as you want it. So I want to take a little break here, guys, to say again what we're doing here. So welcome to the Study in the UK. Ask Us Anything with our fantastic advisors. My name is Mariana. I'm your head of advisors, and I'm here today with John, one of our new advisors who has recently started working with our Africa team for the Zimbabwean market. If you want to ask us anything about education in the UK, how to apply for university, how to live in the UK, just ask us below, comment below, and we'll answer it right away. If you're interested in coming to the UK and study, you can always send us an email at info@okstudent.co.uk or send us your details through okstudent.com/book a meeting. So we have one more comment from Kelly here that is directed to you, John, and I really wanted to ask you this question as well. So thank you, Kelly. What did you miss the most when you moved to the UK?
Cheers, Kelly. What did I miss the most? I'll probably say initially in first year, I'll probably say my friends. Obviously, I was lucky enough to have some friends here already, but obviously, transitioning out of high school and sort of having that tight bond with your friends is is something that I initially just sort of struggled with. But then one thing I will advise to sort of remedy that is just to be as social as possible. Just try and meet as many new people as you can, and yeah, just be very sociable, because by the end of uni I'd made so many new friends, developed some very good bonds, and that just came from being social. I mean, obviously, with the way things are, it's a bit tricky now, but as things start to improve again, I always encourage being social. So yeah, probably say my friends is who I miss the most. I remember when I actually went back home, yeah, it was it was a good time when I got back. So yeah, that was fun.
It's always great when we're back, because our friends suddenly really love on us. Like, they're the best people we can have in our lives at those moments. They miss us so much. We miss them so much. And it's super good to be back. But I love your answer, John, that what you missed the most was your friends. I think that's really good. And it just shows that you have a really good network in Zimbabwe, and that you have a really good network now in the UK as well. So we have another question here from Chris asking, do you feel that university status and grades play a crucial role in employment? I think this is a really good question for us to discuss a bit, because I think it really depends from area to area. What do you think, John?
Well, I agree with you, Mariana. It really, there's so many sort of variables to that question, but just to sort of, excuse me, break it down probably as easily as I can. I think grades will probably play a bit of a role, to be honest, because obviously, you really want to apply yourself whilst you're in uni, and in terms of university status, again, I think the most important point out of those two questions is what sort of a course you're doing as well, because some courses may emphasize on very high grades due to the competition in that industry. Some more specialized courses, may be a bit more lenient towards that. But I think as a student, you always want to be aiming high, when it comes to grades. But then when it comes to university status, I think as long as you are, you present yourself as, someone that's, employable, and, you're willing to work hard, irregardless of, whichever university you went to, because, the fact that you've even been through, tertiary education will probably play an advantage in itself. But, I do think, if you present yourself as someone that's willing to work hard, and you should be fine. So, yeah.
Exactly. And I think as well, I want to comment on this because I think this is a really interesting question. When it's about the university status, very often the universities with the higher status are also not the ones that are able to give the most support to students. So it's quite important to balance these two things to kind of find what we do at OK Student is kind of find the right university in the right location with the right course for every single one of our students. And that might be a highly reputable university or a university that will actually give you the support that you need, that will actually have the employability team that you need to help you to improve your CV, to find ways to do interviews, to actually find a job. So I think it's very much more than the status. I agree that grades play obviously a very important role. But for example, I have a 2.2 in my bachelor's. That hasn't prevented me from getting amazing grades in my master's, and that hasn't prevented me from finding a job. What actually made it so that I could get a job was all of the other experiences that I had while I was at the university. So taking advantage of these resources is really important as well for this. Do you agree, John?
Yes, I fully agree with that. Yeah, I think, like you said, Mariana, just taking full advantage of the resources, and, because when it comes to it, you're always going to have to sort of reflect within yourself. If you can, sort of say, okay, I did my best, that was the best I could do, then it's fine. But if you don't apply yourself, there's always going to be that element of, I could have done better. And, it's just down to you at the end of the day.
Exactly. So thank you, Chris, for your wonderful question. I was really looking forward to this question, and I think we have some more really interesting ones. Thank you to everyone who's commented so far. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Pooja. Pooja has given us a really nice comment saying that you're sending out great information. Thank you, Chris, as well, for this amazing question. And thank you to everyone else who's watching us talk about being a student in the UK today with John, who's here talking about the Zimbabwean perspective. So John is one of our new advisors. He's been with us for 2 months. And if you want to book a meeting with him, just send us an email at info@okstudent.co.uk or send us your details via okstudent.com/book a meeting. We look forward to getting all of those details. And John looks forward to helping you on your way to the UK. So we have another question here from Panache. Do you help guarantee visa acceptance? Do you want to take this one, John?
Yeah, sure, I'll take this one. When it comes to OK Student and our services, obviously we aim to do as much as we can, and help students, as best as we can. But I think in terms of guaranteeing, especially when it comes to the visa spectrum as well, I can't really say we guarantee, because the visa process is a bit more strenuous than, the actual university process, because there's so many other elements that go into that sort of decision making. So with visas, there are no guarantees, to be honest, because, anything can happen, whether, it's beyond our control and your control as well. There are just certain decisions that are made when it comes to visas that, are beyond control. So to say guarantee would be a bit of a stretch, but we do help you in the best possible way. We'll make sure all your documents are in order, and just make sure you present yourself as the best candidate possible to be presented with a visa.
Exactly. That's exactly it. I wouldn't answer it better. That's it, Panache, is we do help you with the visa, but as John said, we can't really guarantee visa acceptance because I don't think even the Home Office can guarantee visa acceptance at this rate. Independently, we do help through getting all of your documents in order. We help with, yeah, exactly. So Kelly here is asking us exactly how we help with these visa processes. So we help getting your documents in order, as John said. We send you a list, a checklist with all of the documents you need to provide us. And then we review those documents before you send them to the Home Office. Before your credibility interview, we also do a mini trial interview with you to make sure that you know all of the answers to the questions that you'll be asked there. It's a credibility interview, in my opinion, that I've never went through it. It must be nerve-wracking. What do you think, John?
Yeah, because personally, I've done a couple of them as I've gone through the process twice, and I think it's just it's just about being honest, and just sort of presenting yourself as someone who's really keen on accelerating their studies, and you just present yourself as best as you can, and honesty as well, and you should be all right. I mean, they're very well, in my experience, they're very rare circumstances where people have been denied um, after everything's been in order. So just as long as you present yourself well, I think you should be fine, honestly.
Exactly. I fully agree. And again, guys, Panache or Kelly, if you guys want to know more about this process, I know we have one question from Panache and one question from Kelly still to respond. But if you guys want more information on this process, definitely send us an email at info@okstudent.co.uk or send us your details through okstudent.com. You know what I'm going to say, book a meeting, /book a meeting. So I want to answer Kelly's question as well, because it relates to all of this that we've been talking about. Are Zim students still getting visas in this lockdown? So there are a lot of visa centers that are closed at the moment still. How is the situation in Zimbabwe, John?
So as far as I'm concerned at the moment, because I actually had a friend who applied a couple of months ago, but did get his visa, because with the application center in Harare from when I last left, they actually had limited their visa slots, because usually they'll do Monday to Friday, but then they limited that to 2 days a week. So after they had done that limit, then obviously the amount of places to book for excuse me, for an interview were really limited. So I would have to check the update on that, but I can imagine it's going to be high traffic as well, because for a long time their website wasn't really working. Excuse me, sorry. For a while. So it's something I definitely need to look into now. But it is unfortunately a bit of a slow process at the moment, obviously due to COVID. But as things begin to open up a bit, then it should be a much more smoother process.
Exactly. And that's the perfect motivation for you guys to actually do these processes with a lot of time. It's important to apply for university with time now, and to actually get your visa process sorted much quicker as well, and much earlier than you would normally. Now, with the change in the visa route as well, in the student and graduate visa route, you have 6 months. You can apply to your visa 6 months before the start of your course instead of 3 months. So this is actually quite beneficial, because during COVID, we've seen these processes take much longer. So the fact that you can do that 6 months before your course now actually really helps at this moment. So I have another comment here from Kelly in relation to the travelers from Zimbabwe being banned at the moment. So yes, so what's happening at the moment is no one from Zimbabwe, or Portugal for that matter, where I am, or South Africa, or a list of 33 countries in total, are on the so-called red list countries. What does this mean? This means that if you don't have a residency permit in the UK, so if you don't have a visa, if you don't have pre-settled status, or if you're not a UK national, you can't fly. If you have a visa, you will have to do a hotel quarantine, 10 days in a hotel. You can book that through the gov.uk website, and you need to book 2 COVID tests as well to take on the 2nd and on the 8th day of travel. So this is really important, and it's a lot of information, but definitely check the gov.uk website. And at the same time, the UK has already announced that on the 12th of May, I want to say 12th of May, they're going to reopen the borders. So that's the first date, theoretically, for them to reopen borders. So hopefully by the time you guys need to all come to the UK, the borders will be open, no one will have to quarantine in hotels, and we can all have a fantastic UK summer. Yay. I'm also looking forward to going to the UK, guys. Believe me, I'm here sitting in Portugal waiting to go back.
Yeah, just to add on to that, it's actually a bit sunny today, but slightly cold. So we're getting there slowly, but yeah, the sun is up.
Awesome. So I have 2 really interesting questions here from Panache that I really want to answer now. And the first one is, did you face racism when you went to the UK? John, do you want to talk about this? Is this personal?
Sure, yeah, I don't mind talking about it. Look, there are, certain areas that you're gonna go to that, once in a while you may be unfortunate enough to sort of encounter that. I think my time here, I probably encountered that, say once when I was in, I can't remember where I was, but yeah, it was just one of those after a night out. Some guy was driving past, and obviously he's in a car, so he can just keep going afterwards. And he said a few slur words to me and my friends, and obviously it's not great, but it's just one of those things that they do happen. I won't sit here and tell you that it's all rosy and it doesn't happen. It does happen, and it's an unfortunate thing that that definitely needs to be addressed and is being addressed at the moment. But yeah, it's just one of those things that it does happen, and obviously it shouldn't. But that's just the way it is, unfortunately.
Do you feel like you have support from your university if you're ever in a really serious situation? Do you feel like you would have support from the university to deal with situations like this?
Yeah, I think the university does provide support when it comes to that. I remember a few cases that happened in some student halls. I think it was actually NTU students, where a student was racially abused, and the matter was taken up to the university. I can't really remember how it all played out, but the student did get some sort of support. If I remember correctly, the students were actually expelled from the university. But yeah, to actually know how it all ended, I may be wrong on that, but I do believe that the issue was raised by the university, and yeah, action was taken. So yeah, the uni does provide, excuse me, support when it comes to issues like this.
Exactly. So speaking from my very inexistent experience, as you can see, my whiteness, universities are very focused on trying to get students to feel as included and as welcomed as possible. So it is an unfortunate situation that racism exists in the UK and that it will probably continue to exist, but universities are very, very keen and very, very committed towards making sure that their campuses are welcoming and that are diverse, are sustainable. So that's one of the really good focuses that the UK has, and that the universities themselves have. So in relation to this, Panache was just commenting that she was also from Zim, and that they actually remember that from Twitter. So which is quite interesting.
Yeah, and just to add on to that as well, because I'm actually remembering a few details from that story. I do think there's a lot of room for improvement on universities' part to take more action, because I think we've been seeing it recently around the world. There's always areas for improvements, and the general consensus is enough isn't being done, which I do agree with as well. There has to be more action taken on these issues, and hopefully that happens eventually, because a lot of the time we see issues like this being shrugged off, or the punishments that are given a light. But I do think that there needs to be a lot more action taken, and there's definitely room for improvement, especially on universities, because I think one of the issues that were actually raised was the fact that the uni took too much time to respond, which, following that story, I actually really agree with, because it took pressure from social media for them to actually say, oh, okay, we've got a bit of a problem here, which quite frankly isn't good enough. But I hope, they've sort of learned from that experience, because now people are really starting to shed light on these issues. So yeah, hopefully we do see rapid improvement moving forward.
Exactly. Exactly. I fully agree. It's very, very important that universities take responsibility and start acting quickly in the event that racial violence happens within the context of universities. So we have a second question here from Panache that will be our last question today. So thank you everyone to begin with. Thank you everyone for all of the questions that you've asked us today. And lastly, we want to talk about, is there support for LGBT students if we get bullied by other students? Do you want to take this, John, or shall I?
Um, I'll hand this over to you, Mariana.
This is my playground, Panache. I love talking about this. So, support for LGBT students if you get bullied. So, universities are highly, highly supportive of LGBTQ students, LGBTI students, any sort of student that identifies as queer. There are lots of societies for LGBT students. So, the university societies and the University Student Union is the first place you should go. They are highly supportive of LGBTQ students, and you will definitely get support if you get bullied by other students, or if anything happens. Basically, you can go to the university. If something happens with the university themselves, if you have a problem with the lecturer, you can always go to your student union, because the student union is a charity apart from the university. So they're not the same as the university, so they're completely independent. So they can offer you support if something happens with the university themselves. I must say that when I was at NTU, I was actually quite surprised that they were so open and so active on LGBTQ issues. I think with NTU, we really need to give a round of applause here, because they're incredibly active, they're incredibly supportive. I have a little badge with my pronouns from NTU, from the Student Union, and that was completely free, and their societies are amazing. And they give you lots of support and lots of community as well, because I think that's really important for both LGBTQ students and international students in general, to have a community where they belong and where they feel good. Another thing is also Anglia Ruskin University. I want to give a little shout out here to my university where I did my bachelor's, because they were the first university in the UK to install gender neutral bathrooms in their campus. So that's actually another really good LGBTQ and trans support measure that they've put in, that I think deserves a really good clap. So thank you, Anglia Ruskin and NTU, and thank you to everyone who's asked us questions today. Would you add anything to this, John?
I think you've pretty much covered all bases, to be honest. Yeah, you put that across pretty well. I mean, I agree. Obviously, with the NTU, being from Zimbabwe myself, and just coming here and seeing how open people are, and how they're able to express themselves. I mean, that's it's pretty good. So yeah.
I fully agree. It's my favorite topic in general. I love talking about LGBTQ support in universities. And guys, we're going to have an LGBTQ special on the LGBTQ History Month, which is June. So don't forget to tune into that. We're also going to have a Black History Month special during Black History Month, which we always do. So tune in for that. That's way, way, way in the future in October. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Thank you, John, for joining me today. And thank you, everyone who asked us questions and who commented. This was a great live. I really enjoyed it. Don't forget to follow us on all of our social medias. So that is at OK_student on Instagram. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn. We're on TikTok. And we're on Media. We're everywhere, guys. So search for us on your social media and follow us to make sure you don't miss any of our lives or any of our content. Obviously, send us an email at info@okstudent.co.uk if you want to study in the UK, if you want to know more about what we do, or send us your details through okstudent.com/book a meeting. All right, I've done the entire thing. John, thank you so much for joining me. Any last words?
Thank you for having me. Yeah, that was certainly interesting, and yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you. Have a great day, everyone. Thank you, Panache. Bye.